don't know if y'all know who Asmongold is. That nigga's room is actually a horror fest. And I want to see why he's been living the way he's been living, bro. I've been living like an animal for 13 years, so here's why. Let's see how he explains his living situation, bro.
Hey guys,
who's that Asmongold?
And today I want to answer a question that a lot of people have been asking me my whole life, and more importantly, they've been asking me a lot recently, especially online. And that question comes in many forms, but it all is distilled down to the same thing, which is, in one form or another, why are you like this? Whether it's the dead rat alarm clock, the barbecue puke shower curtain, dead animals in the house, or
crazy.
Any other one of the stories that are just...
I hope his house is clean now in 2024. Oh, buddy, he dropped this video 4 days ago. His house is not any better.
An indicator of me living like a complete fucking animal. People always wonder, why would a person live like this? Why would a person be like this? Why am I like this? And I think that honestly, you know, there's a lot of answers for this. I really don't want to make this like a super long video. So hopefully I can distill it down to some main points and not really go off on too many tangents, although I think that I probably will, because there's a lot of like history with it and everything like that. And so basically the first thing you need to know about me is that I actually, if you can believe this, I know this might sound shocking, is that I actually have not always been like this. This is a relatively new thing for me. And I think that it really kind of started a lot when I would say in high school, and then later on it kind of entered phase 2. And that was probably somewhere around 21 or 23, somewhere around there in those age groups. And
damn, how old is this nigga?
You know, the degeneracy really kind of went, you know, it ratcheted up to the next level. I leveled up, new expansion release, DLC, etc., right? And so this happened then. Because as a kid, I was actually very much like, very conscientious. I'm a germaphobe like shit, in the way that I basically didn't really want to be perceived in a negative way. I wanted to be seen as a good person, etc. And I've always had a big problem with being able to like relate to other people because I think that I'm just a little bit off, right? I wouldn't say that I don't have a moral compass, but I would say that my moral compass doesn't point north. And this has been a problem in a lot of cases in my life. Whether it's with...
You are a germaphobe? I see that dirty stash on your face. Yo, buddy, this is my fucking facial hair. That shit doesn't fucking gross me out, buddy. Like, what the fuck?
Relationships or friendships or anything in between. I've had a lot of problems because of that. And in the process of this, I've learned a lot of things about myself. And the main thing is that my take and my view on moral issues is not really what I would say a normal person thinks. And this has caused me a lot of problems, and especially like as a young kid, you know, being able to like interact and fit in with people. It's a weird dichotomy because the truth is I actually always did have a lot of friends, and I never had problems making friends, but at the same time I always felt like I was very different from a lot of other people because of the way that I felt. I used to have, for a comparison, just a point of reference, I guess you could say, I used to have my mom read me all of the different like sins in the Bible and everything, because I understood, even as a little kid, I'm like, there's something wrong with you. You know, like, you better learn this so that way there aren't any problems in the future. And so I would have her read all of these to me. That way I would understand how to behave, right? Because it just never came naturally to me. Things that come naturally to other people were not natural and are not natural. It's not like things have changed. If anything, they've probably gotten worse. As I've gotten older. And so I've always had a big problem being able to like you know, understand like where, you know, how you should act, how you should treat people, what you should do, how you should say things, etc. So almost everything that I do is a learned performance rather than an innate social I don't know, like instinct, if that makes sense. And hopefully the performance is good. I consider myself kind of a good actor, at least, right? But of course there are going to be cracks and outtakes as well. And so those are usually in the form of the Twitter clips with 100,000 likes. And so anyway, as a kid, I was always treated this way, and people thought that I was a little bit off, a little bit weird. Like one time, like for example,
I want to see him with a haircut.
A kid that I was like playing with baseball with him, and he was annoying me, making me mad. And so I hit the ball, and I hit it with the explicit intention of hitting him in the face with the ball. And
this nigga's a fucking dickhead. Oh shit.
I did. And so I remember there's blood all over the kid's face. He like broke his tooth and everything, and everybody was standing around like what the fuck? Like what? This is like terrible. And I remember walking up. This was like the best day of my fucking life. This happened, and I was so happy. And I could see that other people were made very uncomfortable around this. And that's whenever I started trying to like really kind of mask my emotions and how I felt about things, because it was very evident to me that I was not really normal. And this has been a huge problem my whole life. But that was pretty much the first, at least the time that I can remember in my mind, the first time that I can remember that and see that, wow, they think I'm like a bad person. But it's like, from my perspective, that's not how I saw it. And, from my perspective, rip bozo. So this is a big problem, and this happens in middle school as well. I cared a lot about like how I looked, how I dressed, etc. in middle school. I mean, really, who doesn't? And I really tried to like take myself seriously, and I tried to have a good impression, etc. Do the right things, say the right things.
So what happened? What was the downfall,
be
bro?
the right kind of person. And going into high school, I kind of got there's a weird thing where like I ended up going to like one high school that I didn't want to go to, and then I ended up going to another high school after that. After I told my parents that if they didn't change me over, I would kill myself and fail every single class.
What the fuck? Just because the nigga couldn't go to fucking a high school? What? Just because he wouldn't go to a high school, bro.
Because my first semester, I was halfway followed through with that. Because my first semester in that high school, I had a GPA of a .08.
Damn!
Impressive. It was hard to do. I had to go out of my way for this. And so then I...
A .08, my nigga? You was only passing gym. Actually, no, you weren't passing gym, bro. You was passing study hall.
I ended up getting transferred over, and I went to the school where my friends were. And I think that, like, the high school that I had originally gone to was a much more superficial, much more, like, like a higher class high school, because my dad wanted...
Bro, my GPA has always been higher than the 3.4, bro. It has always been higher than that.
You go there because, like he wanted me to go to school to get an education. Imagine that. I wanted to go to school to hang out with my friends. So there was a bit of a disconnect there. And so I go over to the other school, and I realized that I need to stop caring about what people think about me, because I saw the people that were in that other school, and I realized that's not the kind of person that I wanted to be, because they were the more extreme version of the person that I was trying to be. And at that point, I realized that I didn't really want to be like other people, and I had to develop, I guess, my own identity. And this was at, like, I would say 14 or 15.
At least he discovered... I will applaud him, because at least he discovered earlier the kind of person that he wanted to be and how he wanted to be. Because a lot of niggas don't really achieve their identity or understand their identity until like later on, bro.
Continued all the way through high school, and I was always
some niggas
like,
can't recognize some of these things.
I never really had a girlfriend, right, in high school or anything like that. Maybe I talked to a girl, but not really, okay. And so I was never really treated very well by a lot of girls or anything like that. And big surprise, imagine that. And so anyway, this happened, and I kind of got used to this. And
imagine him having a girl, though, and then one day she's trying to come over to bro's house, and he, like, picks her up, and they go to his house, and she just sees that shit, bro. Like, she would walk out immediately, nigga.
It was normal, so I would try to improve myself and, like, make myself look better and try to do this, and it would just be met with the same outcome, which was a massive failure. Big surprise. Being a level 60 warrior isn't as attractive to women as it is to other 16-year-old guys. And so anyway, I had this happen, and I eventually kind of got to the point where I was more comfortable with that, and I stopped really caring as much about what like people would think about me. And
yeah, so every time bro tried to look better or feel better or do better, it just failed, and bro said, "Fuck it, I'm done doing it, bro."
In general, just
that nigga just accepted that hoe.
And this kind of got worse as time goes on. And I think that I spent like my teenage years primarily trying to disconnect myself and trying to remove myself from the obligation to be a certain kind of person to the public and just to society in general. I viewed society as I never chose to be here. This was not up for discussion. I just spawned in here.
Facts.
And so it's like I have to follow these rules. I have to do all these things. I have to be this kind of a person. And then, when I was like 17, 18, 19, I asked myself, well, why am I doing this? And so I stopped doing all of that stuff. And I've done many degenerate things, none of which I regret. Nothing at all in my life that I've ever regretted at all. But I would do things that a lot of people would consider to be very improper. Let's just say
what
that.
do you do?
And so
let's really dive into the lore.
I never really viewed myself. I never really viewed it as like a good or a bad thing. I just simply existed.
Hey, on God, Nick, so nigga definitely said some slurs, bro. He was one of them motherfuckers in the COD lobbies calling me. You know what I'm saying?
I did what I would do. And that was it. And at that point, I pretty much had completely disconnected myself from the perception of other people. And this
I wish I could do that,
though. Like growing up, my mom was.
I'll be giving too much of a fuck.
Maybe 2 years or so where she made above the poverty level in terms of income. And so we basically barely skated by most of the time. And primarily the reason for that, honestly, is because my dad always paid child support, etc., at least until I was 18. And, all that time, she was able to skate by with that and pretty much survive. After high school was over, then obviously like that stopped, and then she wasn't able to support herself, so I was having to figure out ways to make money and try to like piece together money. She would borrow money sometimes from my dad, and it was in general like
a
very
I don't have child support,
situation, and so we never really had any money. This was the time where I was pretty much ironically at the peak of my degeneracy. I was probably one of the highest rated warriors in WoW. At the time, it was great, but not necessarily in real life. And so at this point, I had pretty much completely disconnected.
Damn, so my nigga was dead ass fucking Radiant 1 in Valorant, bro. But an Iron 3 in life, bro. That's crazy, bro.
Myself.
An Iron 1 in life.
From the way that people saw me. And I stopped caring about the way that people saw me because I pretty much gave up on being like a normal person. I gave up on being accepted by the public. I gave up on living a normal life or, having a family or anything like that. I just felt like I just was not capable of that based off of my experiences that I had. And I had many other ones too.
You look familiar? This is your uncle, Ness.
And a few other things too. I probably wouldn't even say because they would too drastically alter people's perception of me. But either way, a lot of these instances where I kind of was like, okay, this is bad. Maybe it's better that I'm quarantined in my house. And so anyway, I did this a lot, and my mom and I, like, it was really just kind of the two of us. My dad was there, he was supportive, and he always has been supportive. But other than that, I do have family, but none of them live in the state of Texas. And so any trouble...
This nigga lives in Texas, bro? That's a Texas backyard and a Texas crib that I just saw, my nigga? What part of Texas this nigga from, bro?
Any problems, anything like that?
If not, then that's not my uncle. So your uncle likes boys?
And so take care of my mom, pay for things, anything like that. It was always on me. And her health started deteriorating at about the same time. This is big surprise. You smoke since you're 16? About the same time. And her health started deteriorating at about the same time. This is big surprise. You smoke since you're 16. You spend your entire time smoking cigarettes, watching Ancient Aliens, and fucking around on the internet playing WoW, and you're overweight massively like she was. This isn't good for your health, especially...
Wow, so he just said his mom was an overweight degenerate who's been smoking since she was 16. Like mother, like son, I guess. Holy fuck.
When you're getting into your 60s, which she was at that time, because she had me when she was like 39 and a half or 40 or something. And
my
so
condolences,
at this point, her health was deteriorating, and I remember like she had like a number of instances where like I would like wake up and I hear her like screaming because she would like I don't even really know what the fuck was wrong with her. I don't know. It was like a weird thing where like she couldn't see out of her eye. And then she had like some kind of like, I think like a bleed in her eye. And then she had like, I think it wasn't really a heart attack. There was like some sort of like variation of that. And I remember like her like begging me not to call the ambulance. And this is just like, and this is at the same time that The house is fucking, we can barely pay for the house. We're worried about getting evicted from the house. We have no AC. Or no, we did have AC. We didn't have heat. And so, I would go to sleep and, like, the house would be so cold because I would just give her the heater. And I always viewed it as, like, I'm sleeping out on Mount Everest, right? It's like, I'm cosplaying as Bear Grylls. And I remember, like, my glass of water in my room, there would have like ice crystals on the edge of it.
That's crazy.
How fucking cold it was.
Nah, I definitely have been in a room that was like so fucking cold that the floor started condensating, bro. That's fucking insane.
And so I did that really for like 2 years, and so we had like basically like zero money. And so this happened, and pretty much like her health would deteriorate more and more and more to the point where she couldn't drive, she couldn't do X, she couldn't do Y, she couldn't get a job anymore. And then it relied on me more and more to completely support her in like pretty much all ways. And so, and I remember she would like beg, like she was like on the ground like crying, begging me not to call an ambulance. And so this was very upsetting for me, by the way. Like I got to the point where like at this time period, I would wake up like every 2 hours or so with like a weird thing where I would hear her screaming my name. And this went on for maybe like 6 months to a year.
Damn.
And also I want to say that like all of this stuff and everything about it, I don't really like, everybody in life has problems. And I hope that by sharing my problems, people can kind of see where I'm coming from as a person. I don't really care about sympathy. I don't care about people feeling bad for me. I don't really give a fuck. It doesn't matter to me. So I hope that nobody thinks that this is coming off as any form of a, like sympathy play. I've had things bad happen in my life. I think that in many cases they've been my fault. I've deserved them. But this is just what's happened. And so anyway, and every action and every outcome in my life leading up to now has led me to the position that I am right now. And I think that in a lot of cases, I'm happy with how I am. And you can't just go back and edit out all the bad parts and expect to be in the good part. And so at the same time this was happening, like a lot of my friends were obviously going through college, finishing college, having girlfriends, like moving in and everything. And I was worried about, number one, my mom dying. Number two, being homeless. And number three, at that point, I had always assumed that I would kill myself after high school. Like, that was my plan. And, Wrath of the Lich King came out, and I just got distracted. I forgot. And so, Wrath of the Lich King came out, and I just got distracted. I forgot. And
bro just said he just forgot. That's so crazy, bro. Hey, but a video game saved his life, though, bro. Hey. Hey, he talking to us like we some therapists. That nigga said, I was gonna take my life after high school, but then the game came out, and I forgot. Like, what, bro?
So I ended up not doing that, and because of that, I never brushed my teeth in high school. Never really gave a fuck about it. Never cared. And this caused, guess what that causes? It causes your teeth to rot out. And so a lot of my teeth had to be, I had to get fillings and everything as a teenager. And my dad paid for a lot of it, which he was very, very unhappy about.
Ew.
And so these fillings would come out. This is what happens with fillings or anything like that. And they did come out, and then, of course, my teeth deteriorated naturally because I love soda. I love drinking soda. I've got a soda right over there. Went to McDonald's earlier today. Really, really like soda. Like it so much that right now I only have 5 real teeth left in my whole mouth. And
God damn, nigga. Fuck. Holy shit, my nigga. God damn, bro. This nigga's piss is fucking dark red, bro. I'm already knowing.
I think you start with like 32, which is kind of crazy to think. And so, anyway, this happened, and all my teeth were starting to rot out. I was not able to eat with one side of my mouth. I would have these toothaches that would get so bad that I would pass out from the pain. And I eventually had to go to like the...
Yo, nigga, you wouldn't think that maybe, just maybe, you should use a toothbrush every once in a while?
Like, basically, if you're, like, the people that really get fucked by medical bills are the people that are in the middle of, like, economically. Because if you're broke, like, they'll do shit for you for, like, $10. If they can get anything, they'll do it. And so I had a program like that, and so they would have to pull out my teeth kind of regularly. And that's how I lost. I have no back teeth at all. That's why, if you look at my jawline, it's very different than if you look at it from like, you know, high school or like by the age of like 19 or 20. It's completely changed because I've lost all of my teeth and my
insane,
jaw.
Bro. At least once a week. Like, you gotta at least try, bro.
And so, which, as far as I know, is unfixable, at least in the way that I have this problem. There's a separate problem that is fixable. I don't have that one. I talked to a dentist about it. So it's basically like irreversibly fucked. And so anyway, this happened, and it was not a great time. My teeth were rotting out, etc. And at that point, I had to completely, like, pretty much give up the notion and give up the dream of ever being a normal person. At that point, I could feel myself no longer being the same as anybody else, right? Nigga. And I actually, for a while, I really hated it, but then I got used to it. And then,
oh my god, I forgot to fucking upload the day scaring my mom. Fuck.
Then I embraced it, and I think that's where I am now. So I would say like that was from like ages, like I would say, you know, 13 to, I don't know, like 21, somewhere around there, right? Then after that, I started doing other stuff. I was playing WoW, I was making videos, I was doing other random things. Right, and my mom's like health pretty much would always get worse.
I'm gonna upload 3 tomorrow to make up for it.
And so I would have to do my best to like take care of her, and worked at the IRS for a while. Tried to work at Sam's Club, didn't really go very well. But overall, I tried to go back to college. I do have a college degree, if you can imagine that. But learned more from business from WoW than I did from business school. And so then I spent that time. And then this was all the time, like, you know, me not knowing if she would, you know, every day I would wake up and like, hear that voice in my mind, and like, you know, it was really, really bad. And this is just something I would do all the time, and I try to always make the best out of it.
No, it definitely does like more
critical. Not think about it, but you know, looking back on it, things were very, very bad.
Voice critical
and
is
so
more
anyway, you know, fast forward a little bit later, and that's whenever I was like going back to college. I thought that I would just, you know, basically have a shitty job, play video games for my whole life, and then die, right? And then I got a shitty job, and I realized the shitty job is actually a lot more shitty than I thought it would be. So then I remember it was probably like one of the best things that ever happened to me, is that I took this job at Sam's Club, and I hated it so much, it actually encouraged me to make myself a better person, if you can imagine that. Wow. And so I signed up to go back to university and finish another degree that I was working on so I could go to law school. Actually, I wanted to be a lawyer, basically because
Nixon, he wants to be you, nigga. What's good, burrito?
School, we would always play Magic the Gathering, and I could see him. He would always manipulate the rules to come out ahead and win different, like, arguments in Magic the Gathering, and I was like, I bet lawyers do that in real life. I should do that myself. And so that was always my motivation. And anyway, I did that, and then, you know, a number of other things, you know, random things that are not, you know, I would say like YouTube or public safe that I did. And then after that, I started doing YouTube, and then I started doing YouTube, and I focused on that. And I would put videos out of the way that I lived, etc. And people would always find it to be very funny or like weird, and everybody would like really like. There were a lot of people, and this is true even now, people that like hate me for living the way that I do. And I think that really,
I'm not gonna lie. If you gotta hate a nigga, for the way that he wants to live, you're a fucking weirdo. Like, why are you mad that this nigga's in his dirty room, bro? Like, you not in his shit. Why do you care?
People look at a person like me, and they see a person who has a number of things in their life that they wish they had, but I've done basically, you know, if you look at it from like, what do they tell you to do when you're growing up? You know, I used every single thing to do as a checklist of what not to do, right? And so, you know, I think that a lot of people could be a little bit, you know, annoyed by that. And so I can see why, and et cetera, and it is disgusting, by the way. And so, you know, missing half your teeth and, you know, living in a dump with a dead rat alarm clock. You don't know if your mom's going to be alive that day. You've got no money. You have to support her. She's never going to be able to support herself. And things are just basically slowly getting worse and worse and worse. And I started doing YouTube, and things started doing a little bit better. I started doing streaming. Things were doing better then. I went to get my teeth fixed because if you look at my old videos, a lot of my old videos, you'd notice that I smile. You know, when I smile, I cover my mouth when I smile. The reason for that is this isn't Saikuno, where I don't like my smile. Yeah, well, I don't like my smile. It's not because I think it's ugly. It's because I didn't have any fucking teeth. I didn't want people to see that. And so that's why I would cover my mouth a lot whenever I first started streaming. And so this happened to me for a long time. I go to the dentist, and they tell me it's going to be like around $50,000 to get all my teeth fixed and everything taken care of. Then I thought, maybe, because it was the first time at that point where I kind of like, it really hit me that I had like irreversibly and irreparably damaged my life.
$50,000, nigga, for your teeth, for your pearly white, for your fucking teeth, my nigga, 50K. Holy shit.
In a way that I couldn't just immediately like undo. Because like as a kid, you know, usually you make a mistake where it's like you scrape your knee and then, well, you put a bandage on and it gets better. But with this, it never was going to get better, and it's only going to get worse, and it certainly has, by the way. And so anyway, I did want to kill myself, but I decided instead of killing myself, I'd do something even worse. I'd start streaming. And I started streaming because I wasn't really making enough money, and everybody says...
Bro just said that streaming. Nigga said that streaming is worse than killing yourself. That is crazy.
Oh, well, I started streaming because, you know, I like interacting with people. It's because I was lonely. Well, I started streaming for money. I needed some fucking money. And so that's what I did. And I was like, guys, we've got a donation goal of $100, and you know, if we get $100, I'm gonna go to Wendy's tomorrow. And I would always meme it up, you know, $1 equals one donut, and it's like, you know, I would make a bunch of money, and it was great. And things actually did go very well. I streamed every single night. I was very dedicated. I tried to make things as entertaining as possible, and you know, I did what I tried to do best, right?
I'm about to steal his shit. Yo, Chad, just think about it, bro. If everybody in the stream donates $1 right now, bro, I could get me a fucking Big Mac from McDonald's, bro.
Better, and they improved. This happened just at pretty much the same time. A lot of my friends were kind of evolving and going past, like college.
Of course, you
like they were getting careers, getting married, having kids, and like now, I'm pretty sure. I'm thinking to myself, I'm pretty sure every single friend that I have is either married or has a kid, which is kind of crazy considering that I'm sitting here doing what I'm doing. But it is kind of weird. I'm 34 now, which is honestly,
god damn, nigga, fuck, god damn,
a fucking shock. 34. Like I can't believe it. I don't feel 34. I feel like I'm still 16. But I look in the mirror, I see my hairline, and I think to myself, oh my god, wait a minute, I think I'm actually 34. And if I'm really not sure, I talk to somebody who's 16, and then I realize, hold up, wait a minute, no, actually I am 34. Because there's no better way to realize that you're actually older until you talk to somebody who's actually younger. At least it is for me. So anyway,
holy shit, yo, KO plays with a goddamn dollar dono.
I pretty much like stopped interacting with a lot of friends of mine because I focused pretty much just on streaming and on making this as much as possible. And also, I'm a very introverted person in a lot of ways. I like being alone. I don't like people talking to me a whole lot. I don't like phone calls. I don't like interacting with people. I don't like going out. You guys might notice this, right? If it's, a mystery or secret. And so, big surprise, that's how it was. And then, I started streaming. My stream started doing better. And there was a degree of, like, stress that created. But, and in terms of, like, my lifestyle and everything, living that way, I never really thought about it at that point. I never really worried too much about, like, kind of how... people would perceive me. I always viewed myself as like, this is just who I am. This is what I am. That's all there is to it. And I never really took, and I still don't really take any criticism or any negativity to heart. I don't take it personally. I don't really care a whole lot.
What's good, Hugh?
And so at the end of the day, it never really bothered me, and people thought it was funny. And so, I had like a snack box, and there were like maggots in the snack box, and then I would eat the food with the maggots inside of the food. It was like honey buns, which were really, really good. And to be honest, I didn't even really taste them. So...
Yo, there's no way this nigga is saying this shit and hearing it and he's okay with what's coming out of his mouth. Bro just said he ate maggots that were inside of honey buns.
It was pretty much the same thing. Didn't even bother me. And so, I had like taken at that point, my teeth had like totally rotten out. And so I had taken pliers to like break pieces of my teeth off, even, like if I wasn't able to speak during a stream, because like a point was like, poking my tongue, or like, playing a game or something like that, talking to people. And so I still have the pliers actually in my bathroom from all the way back then. And,
this nigga was pulling his own teeth out too, bro. That's insane.
Happened for quite a while.
What?
And then I guess you could say I started like the second phase of my life of like trying to remove myself from like caring about being worried about the outcome of other people. It was always very scary for me to know that my mom would die one day, right? This was extremely scary. This was like the one thing that I didn't want to have happen. And in 2021, it did happen. And so leading up to that was incredibly stressful. She pretty much did everything that she possibly could. I love her, but she did every fucking thing that she could to make things as absolutely unpleasant as possible. Oh my God. And so, yes. It was very frustrating to deal with somebody like that. But, she was 70 at the time. And so it really, really, really hurt.
Damn,
and it's she was the main person in my life that I was like most connected to, and this is the person that I had like the deepest emotional connection with, and to just lose them, and it was kind of random, by the way. Like things got worse over time, but it was nothing like at the very end there. It just kind of went off a fucking cliff. And so this happened, and then at about the same time, a little bit after that, I also broke up with a long-term girlfriend at the time.
Long-term?
At the same time, my dad got so fucking sick that we were like talking about writing his will, and he's still setting all that up because he doesn't know if this shit's gonna happen again, right? What's gonna be? And he's 77 too, so it's rough, right? It's bad. And he went through pneumonia 4 fucking times in a year.
God damn.
And he's still getting around, going to the store, etc. But I got to help him every once in a while too, right? And
that's crazy. The whole world just fucking put every living hell that they could find out there on this nigga's shoulders, bro.
And we don't have any family around here, and so if something goes wrong, if something's bad, there's one person who's responsible for that, and that's me. And so that's a lot of stress. It's a lot of pressure, right? And I had all 3 of these things happen to me within pretty much 1 year of each other. Maybe 2 years with the thing with my dad. And so at that point, I began the second part of, I think that my abstraction of reality is that I've tried my best to remove myself from caring about other people as much as I can, and not caring about them in terms of being friendly. Of course I'm friendly with people, but being emotionally attached to having them in my life, being...
Damn, I wish I could do that with that. I wish I could do that like that nigga, bro, man. Man, bro, mom must be getting the best of me. Hold on, chat, give me a second. Holy shit. Alright, we back.
Being emotionally attached to the way that they feel about me and how they're doing. It's been very hard for me to actually have any sort of feelings towards people when it seems like everybody that was important to me is fucking dying. And so or leaving me, right? Or breaking up with me. So at a certain point, you just kind of get away from that. And then after that, we entered into, I would say, the third phase, which is the point where I lose the connection with myself. And I think that whenever I finally do that, I think that maybe one day I might be happy again. And what I mean by that is that I always worry about dying and all this stuff and how I'm where do you go, what happens, right? And it would be very, very stressful for me. And I usually reassure myself by reminding myself that I'm just a hyper-intelligent monkey that probably evolved too fast. And I think that we all are, by the way. It's not like I'm special. And that usually is oddly reassuring. But otherwise, it was very stressful for me. And I did think that I was farther along. I thought I would be okay with dying until I thought that I was dying, and then I realized that I wasn't as far along as I thought I was. Recently, whenever I had a blood pressure reading of 194,
God damn,
which is a high score so far.
High score
so far, and so things have been improving since then. By the way, but anyway, this has been my life. And I stopped really caring about anything. I stopped caring about what happens to me. I stopped caring about what happens to other people. I stopped caring about what people think about me. And I felt that the more that I have, the more that I've cared about things, the more unhappy I've been as a person. And I think that this is true on like a base level. Is this
I can see that
pathological problem for me? I think it probably is. But at the end of the day,
sometimes we care too much about things and it don't work out, bruh. It's gonna hit you like a truck, nigga.
This is the best way that I know to cope with it, right? And so for me, the way that I live and everything is a manifestation of that. It's always been this way for me. My mom, like growing up, things were pretty messy, etc. But then even now, things are worse than they ever have been in terms of like being messy. But I never really think about it or worry about it.
That's crazy,
because
bro.
I'm just
best friends
really,
are bugs and shit,
it doesn't
bro.
even cross my mind. I'm thinking about things that I want to think about. I'm doing things that I want to do. And I never think about what other people think about me. I don't think about how it affects other people. I don't think about how they feel or anything like that. And it might sound like a bad thing, but it's made me a happier and more fulfilled person, not worrying about anybody else really other than myself unless I have to. And it's been very weird for me getting older, especially. And like having like priorities change in your life, and having different things happen to you. And so I wanted to make this video and kind of like explain like kind of how I got to be this way, and hopefully a little bit of this can like explain why do I behave this way, why am I like this, why do I have no shame with things, right? It's because I've lived a life where I've tried desperately to hold on to any degree of dignity that I've had, and anything that I've had, and it's just slowly been taken away from me. Whether it's myself, pieces of myself, other people, or the way that the world sees me. I think that the more that I've kind of just, let things flow freely and not care about it, the more happy and content that I've been. And so it's an ongoing process, and began whenever I said, I guess I said I was like 13, and I guess the last thing for me to do is really to let go of myself and just finally be content with my own existence for the time that I exist. And I'm not really a religious person. I'm not a spiritual person either. I don't believe there's any light at the end of the tunnel. I definitely don't think so. And I just try to make the best of being in the tunnel. And so that's why I live the way that I do. That's why I do the things that I do. That's why I say the things that I do. That's why a lot of criticism and things like this, of course I don't like it. Of course I don't like it. But it doesn't really emotionally affect me in the same way that I think it does for other people. And it used to affect me a lot more, but I've, gotten a little bit better at dealing with it. And so hopefully this can answer some questions and kind of give people a little bit more insight into my life and the kind of person I am. And that's pretty much about it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I have to cover.
Damn, I feel bad
30-minute
for
video.
bro.
Actually,
why is the game the sexy sniper?
So, that's my life story. That's what's happened to me in general, and that's why I am the way I am.
Bro just spoke fluently and consecutively for 35 fucking minutes. That's okay.
And will I ever change? Maybe,
no
maybe
edit,
not,
bro.
right? I mean, I honestly, making a lot of money on Twitch and, the notoriety and everything, people recognize you. I mean, I guess it's nice, right? And I mean, sometimes having money is way better than not having money. But in terms of having a lot of wealth, I live in my same house. I use my same desk. I, for a very long time drove my same car. I eat in the same places. I do the same things. I really haven't changed at all, honestly, ever since I was younger, ever since my stream got popular.
Though,
and maybe one day I will, maybe one day I won't. At the end of the day, I think that one thing that I've always really kind of focused on and thought about a lot is that I have complete and absolute agency over my own life. I can do anything that I want to do, and I cannot do anything that I don't want to do. And I think that's been a very comforting fact. And so people ask me, like, are you ever going to do this? It's not something I'm really thinking about changing right now, but in the future, I might change my mind. I just don't know yet. And so I just try to live life and enjoy it, and be able to experience things for the way that they're meant to be experienced. And really, I don't care a whole lot about that either. I don't care about, going out or having certain life experiences, or, oh, you'll regret this. Well, who cares if you regret this when you're old? You're about to die anyway. It doesn't even matter. And so I've never really felt that way. It's just it's not in me. And so that's really my whole life. And that's why I live the way that I live. It's why I do things the way that I do things. And, maybe one day it'll change. Maybe one day it won't. Who the fuck knows? Tune in next time to find out. So anyway, guys, hopefully this
I appreciate the transparency, bro,
etc. And I got an early end for the day. We had to record something early, so I came home. I figured I'd record this, and it's only 6 p.m. and so I don't know what the hell to do with myself now. I'm not streaming. I'm gonna go walk around my house like an NPC. And so, I don't know what to do. I'm probably gonna go play video games. So anyway, guys, thank you all very much for watching. Thanks for listening if you've gotten this far. And things have been going great for me recently. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's been so supportive and everything. And my best way that I can say thank you is by doing more of it. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. And that's
W Asman, bro. W fucking Asman, bro. I know he just sat here and y'all think he yapped for fucking 35 minutes, but I don't even know why his room is so goddamn dirty.